When you aren't fortunate enough to live right on top of a 24/7 lure party, becoming a true master requires more than wandering around. You must pore over research to find the right areas in your city and find meetup locations for lures, even if it takes you to the dark depth of the internet that is Facebook, a horrid website for stolen memes and brainwashed egocentric fools. However, it may be necessary to level up slightly faster in a game. Welcome back to another week of the Pokemon Go adventures. I have indeed been doing some research. Of course, I already know most of the general info and strategies. The global community around this game is very active, but I have recently started to uncover just how active local communities are online. If you live in any medium-large city, chances are you can find other people near you discussing good places to be, meeting up, and all that. There are several Facebook groups dedicated to that for Vancouver. Hundreds of people showed up to a Stanley Park meetup even though it was apparently cancelled. There's also stuff like this community-built map. People can just submit locations for stops, gyms, rare spawns, double, triple, and quad lures. Pretty cool. I imagine stuff like this will start coming out for the whole world and will be better maintained than just a Google map. But I mapped out some stops in Fraser River Park on here. I doubt I'll notice any effect, but maybe I'll see a couple more lures over there if people see that it's a decent place to go. Right now it's pretty barren. In the last video I wandered over to Queen Elizabeth Park, which is over here. Pretty centralized, that triple lure right there. Turned out I did randomly pick a decent destination. I don't have any big adventure planned for this video. I'm going to be messing around with gyms and making some huge XP gains. However, the next time I go somewhere farther away, I will know much more about where I'm going in advance. There's also the Pokevision tool, which most people know about by now, uses the API to show all Pokemon spawns in real time. I don't really like it, it's kinda cheaty. I don't plan on using it to find individual mons. However, I am glad I was able to use it one time to effectively scan my entire area and know where the most densely populated areas are. That is something that really sucks about finding stuff in this game. Things seem to spawn way more wherever the most people are playing, and I've seen many Reddit posts agreeing with how that system is terrible and how counterintuitive that is. Ideally, you'd want to go out into the fields and forests and nature reserves to find Pokemon, breathe in that fresh air, but the reality is you should head to your nearest concrete jungle and breathe in the fumes. The more high-rises the better, because that's where all the spawns are. I liked this summary of fun versus useful. Very accurate. I enjoy the game, but I wish some aspects of it were different. Like, it's impossible to ever feel attached to anything you catch because the traditional catch and train mentality is just not there. There is no training. It's a waste to power up pretty much everything until the end game when you have high-leveled things with good IVs. So everything you catch until then is just disposable for XP. Way over here on the left is my campus, and it's actually a pretty good place to be. I've been told there are many stops and gyms and things to catch. Haven't been there yet with the game, though. I happen to also know there's a triple lure right there. You know, I bet I'd be way farther along in this game than I am right now if I were in classes. With the bus ride over there every day, I could be catching and collecting the stops and hanging out by the lures in between classes. Yep. Right there you see the difference. That's downtown where it's busy as hell, not a fun place to walk around, but of course it's packed with Pokemon. Past that is Stanley Park, where there is a Dragonite, apparently. Not like I could make it there even if I could fly on a Pidgey. Well, I've talked here for long enough. My god, is anyone even still watching? On to some gameplay. This is just a random thing I recorded when I was out and about. I wasn't there to catch anything, but this is much closer to downtown, and you can see that these stops are much more plentiful and lures are scattered in various places. Nothing like that within walking distance from me. I'm so close to great areas to play this game yet so far. Well, I will mainly highlight the two most interesting days of the past week in this video. Near the very beginning of the recap here, the game finally officially released in Canada, which meant a couple things. One, there was a little Christmas noob effect. Not Christmas, obviously, but there was a noticeable influx of noobs. I saw some low-level CP 100 and 200 drowsies owning gyms somehow, which was pretty funny. I'm used to being the noobiest of them all. The official release also meant that I felt more safe buying from the store. Now, I already decided that I'm not about that pay-to-win life. I won't be spending a dime on this game. However, I do have that free Google Play credit to use on something before it expires, and there's absolutely nothing else on the Play Store I care about at all. It might be smarter to buy some lucky eggs or incubators or whatever else, but I'm much more interested in the permanent upgrades, being the bag size and the Pokemon store size. I know that you don't really need those. You don't need to be carrying 100 revives and 100 raspberries around with you all the time. If you manage your inventory well, there's just no need. But too bad, I don't care if it isn't the best tactical decision. I like it more than things things that get used up and go away. I can deal with earning more XP and hatching more eggs over time, but there is no other way to upgrade your bag. So I upgraded that stuff as much as I could with what I had. Now I have a huge bag and a bit more room for Pokemon. After that, I messed around with gyms. The current Fraser River gym was a Valor one with a CP 1000 Hypno. I figured I might be able to take it out with my whole team of newbie terrible things, and thanks to a bit of an invisible focus band bug at the end there, I did manage to kick that guy out. I know that if you use dodging effectively with the little overlay that pops up to warn you of incoming damage, you can beat nearly anything that way, but honestly I think my phone is way too laggy to dodge effectively. That and I'm bad, so I tend to just sit there and spam. Well, I put some of my trash in there to immediately be kicked out again, and sure enough, this dude with a red hat who I saw walking around the park with his phone out earlier, he goes over there and takes it back with a Fearow, also being Valor. I don't know why he didn't just add something to the existing gym when it had the Hypno. There was space for another, but maybe he didn't know. Well, that Fearow is easy to take out, so I stole it back again. Haha! I walked away, a Caterpie hatched, and immediately when I got out of that screen, he had taken it back again. Well, I didn't mind this little back and forth, not bad XP since I don't have any big lures to sit at. By the time I got there, interestingly, Mystic had taken it over. Now, to remind everyone of the area around this gym, it's located by that bench out there. The dude sitting is Valor, the two standing are Mystic. But what I like to do is take this little side path away from the water. It leads over to this area, and it allows me to ninja snipe the gym from hiding, which for some reason I think is hilarious. I love that I can take over that gym from behind a bush. I like to imagine that they're like, where the hell is this Team Yellow dude who keeps fighting the gym? There's nobody here. They'll never expect that I'm on the other side of the shrubbery. The more likely scenario is that I'm just some weirdo fighting the gym in a bush and nobody cares, but let me pretend. Well, the Valor guy battled then, took it back, then he got up from the bench and walked away, so laughing to myself, I snuck in to immediately snatch it back. Goodbye again, Fearow, get blown back by one Jinx with Frost Breath. Well, I'll skip ahead because that day was a lot of back and forth. Here I assumed it was being dethroned again, but it turns out, surprisingly, another dude on my team came along and was increasing the prestige of the gym, although he only dropped a Pidgey in there. That'll hold him off. Well, later that day I saw some lures go down, which is rare for this park. When I got over there, it was already gone, but it was only one, so whatever. I was heading out when I saw that they moved their lure party over to the pier area. It was hard to resist a double lure, so I hung out there for a bit. It was a nice warm evening to sit on a log on a beach. I believe the guy in the black shirt over there used the lures. The shirt was Pokemon themed. Anyway, I caught your standard fare of rats, birds, bugs, and drowsies. About half an hour later, my phone was near death, so I didn't stay until the very end, but later again that day, I did get my first taste of being on the game as a vehicle passenger, and it is very easy. You encounter stuff pretty quick. It's practically the same speed as being on a double lure. I even saw a nearby Gengar at one point, freaking crazy, although it never showed. After that day, I had a decent list of stuff to transfer in, and seeing all of this from just a couple hours of catching really puts in perspective the 20 or so things I caught from that huge Queen Elizabeth Park pilgrimage. Circles back around to the fun versus useful problem. Well, skipping forward in time a few days, the most significant thing I caught during that was a 343 Hypno, which is still trash. More transferring and cleaning up. I saw one other lure at Fraser River Park in the 2 days, and after that, more transferring. I was now in preparation mode to use a lucky egg for the first time. I do intend to make full use of the lucky eggs, and I had plenty of evolutions lined up to do just that. The thing I was waiting for was my first 10k egg to be nearly hatched, and that was ready to go at 9.9, so the lucky egg was activated along with an incense to catch some things along the way. I also planned to drop lures at the same time, but it ended up being too busy with the evolution, so that would have been a waste. The first goal was to hatch that egg before the evolution spam, and it happened without too much wasted time. First 10k egg hype, best case scenario would be Snorlax, I think. I drowned myself in the river, it was an Eevee, but it turns out to be a Hitmonchan. Not the best, not the worst, but at least it is something new, so I get that extra lucky egg XP. Well, after that is a lot of evolution footage that nobody wants to see. It worked out very well with how much time I had. I used up basically all the candy I had on evolutions. At the very end of the lucky egg time, I ran for one last stop and got it just in time, 100 XP. And now for the aftermath. That evolution session took me from a low level 12 to a high level 14. Nice to get a little boost forward in the ranks and stop being such a terrible noob. Scrolling through here, you can see all those Kakunas, Metapods, Pidgeotos, Eradicates. I wasn't focused on getting anything good out of all those evolutions, but naturally I did get some new highest mons, one being a CP 656 Hypno. Still trash, of course, but it does make it easier and more fun to attack the gyms higher than me. So that was a relief to make full use of a lucky egg. Now nearly at level 15, gonna be seeing some better stuff in the wild, gotta keep working my way up. I was gonna get myself to level 15 before leaving, so I run around collecting from stops, and I took on the gym that was under Mystic control with a Machoke, Pidgeot, and Golduck. Died the first time on the Golduck, but I knew this would be easy enough to just keep fighting and lowering the prestige, kicking out the weaker ones first. Although when I walked away to collect the stops again, somebody else started fighting it, which is fine with me. The prestige went down, so he was either Valor or Instinct. Either way, it's helpful for me. There was a lure that I saw way over there, so I checked that out, and looking back on that gym, turns out he was Valor, go figure. I hung out at this lure for a while and got some unique things for me, being Psyduck and Slowpoke. When I got back to the gym, the Mystic Golduck reigned supreme once more. I put Raticate in the front because it has that bite as a basic attack to deal with the Hypno, even though I'm pretty sure Raticate is complete trash in this game. It ended up being cleaned up by Slowpoke in the end. I resist him, he doesn't resist me, easy peasy. Went in to dethrone that Golduck a second time, and between just Hypno and Slowpoke it worked out just fine. Dropped that Hypno in there because I have nothing else anywhere near decent, and I don't need it to fight other gyms. It will be kicked out very quickly, I'm sure. And sure enough, as soon as I took that Golduck out, a crowd of 4 or 5 people from the pier area started talking and moving over to the gym. Almost immediately, it was under attack again, and back in Mystic control. For some reason, I assumed that crowd was all on one team, but turns out, not the case. A lot of fighting was going on over there. It kept changing around. Mystic, and then empty, and then an Instinct Growlithe, and then fighting, and then it was empty but still showing fighting, and then Mystic again, and I tried to fight it, but it didn't let me in. It was already under attack by someone, I suppose. I know it's possible to fight together with people on your team, but I don't know what team was attacking it at that time. It was emptied out and then immediately sniped by Mystic again with an Electabuzz. This time I got to attack it, took it out no problem. Then it was taken by another Instinct person with a Flareon, which was absolutely fine by me. I reinforced that with a Hypno and said, alright, I'm done with this madness. We own it. That's awesome. I'm gonna look away now. Schrodinger's gym. I'm gonna pretend that Instinct owns that until I check on it. I did try collecting the gym ownership coins for the first time. I didn't entirely know how that worked. I thought you had to hold it for a certain amount of time before collecting. Turns out you can just take it over and collect right away. I think the incentive to wait is that you can own many gyms and collect for up to 10 of them before waiting the whole 21 hours. But I'm too terrible to do that right now, so 1 is fine with me. I know you don't get a lot of coins for taking over gyms, but for someone who's not spending any money, that is enough to buy the occasional lucky egg so that you always have 1 ready for the evolution marathons that you have to do and save up candy for to level up effectively. It is good that you can earn these coins without buying them, even if it is very slow. Well, my phone was dying. On the way back, I found a Wartortle in this parking lot, and I took the time to restart the app with the recording software because I'm an idiot, and my phone shut down mid-capture, and I did not get it. Not the end of the world, though. I already have a Wartortle, and I'll be able to find more. That ends those 2 most eventful days. I will say I came back the next day and Instinct was still holding down that gym with some pretty powerful mons, such that I would be unable to add anything since you can only fight with 1 against a friendly gym. In my adventures walking around, I found another yellow gym I thought I could train on, the Scottish Cultural Centre, but the game was too laggy or something and it didn't let me. Then I stumbled across this right here. Don't capture me or my son ever again. Well, I will wrap up this weekly recap here. I hope the next time will be another interesting adventure like last time. Every time I make one of these, I think that this all seemed a lot more interesting in the moment and a lot more boring in review. Like when I'm there running around in the shrubbery fighting gyms, I think it's funny to bring people along for moments like that, but it's a struggle to make that happen effectively. I do think though that as I get farther in this game and include more things in these videos, that's fewer things I need to include in the future. I can now go catch tons of things and fight tons of gyms without feeling like I need to record every step of the adventure, recapping every day of the week like this. At a certain point, the videos should just be one larger adventure going somewhere and like a recap page of all my Pokemon at the end of the week. That's what I'm aiming for, so hopefully these videos should be getting better soon in that respect. Well, it's good to be level 15, I'll say that much. The road to 20 now begins. After 20, I think, is when things get really slow and exponentially crazy. Well, thank you for watching this stage of the journey, and I'll catch you next time.